So the show basically starts. Did you like this at all or not? With Samoa Joe being attacked, by Swerve, he put him through the table, and then, they take him away because maybe he hit his head at the back of the table. I'm sure it was a work. But what do you think of that opening?
Doesn't make me any more interested in their match.
That was my point. All right.
Okay, so then they have a video package of the Trump Beretta turning Orange Cassidy.
Did we talk about Penta match or though?
No, it comes that up. It's not coming. It's not on.
All right.
Renee Paquette stood outside Cassidy's locker room doors. Cassidy will have a match on Rampage and intends to address Beretta's action on Rampage. So I will continue that.
Yeah, that'll be very.
Yeah.
They do such a bad job of building up matches on a Rampage.
Adam Copeland, who has been tremendously disappointing in his AEW run, wrestled Penta.
But he's having the most fun of his life. You can't.
Supposedly, and he's doing all the spots that he's given up on working on trying to integrate a WWE style, and he just does all the forearm each other back and forth, stuff like all that, just whatever. So that's their style, I guess. But he beats him. So now we had some bad acting after the match. The lights went out, and when the lights turned on, Julia Hart was sitting with zero expression on her face. I'm dying for her to make an expression. Like her face is just like zero facial expression.
I can't believe she's her champion, bro. I just think she's not championship material. But go ahead.
Then Brody King attacked Copeland from behind and hit him with a boot in the corner. Then King threw kicks at Copeland, then picked him up and put him in a rear naked choke. All right, so this is kind of weird because.
Can I tell you about this? Disco, go ahead, can continue, and then I'll tell you.
So the Willow Nightingale came out in her
lumberjack or whatever.
Well, my analogy is a lot of these people in their show when they're coming out dressed like in non-wrestling attire, they look like they bought their clothes at Target.
Well,
they do. That is true.
That is true, right? And the 99-cent dollars. But if she wouldn't have been wearing that top, just the jeans and those boots she was wearing, she looked like she was going to chop wood. Yeah.
All of it's non-designer too.
Right.
So there's no So Brody King attacked Copeland, and King threw kicks at Copeland and picked him up and put him in a rear naked choke. The Willow Nightingale came out and she ran out and attacked Hart. Then King pulled Hart out of the way, and then Hart rolled the floor. And then Brody King looked very green here with his timing because he was supposed to push Adam into the ropes and then go to clothesline him, and Adam was going to duck. And it's like he was going to push him, and he went to the push spot too early and hesitated and then stepped back and then waited and then went up and pushed him. It was just I don't know, just like the time. I feel sorry for Copeland because a lot of these indie guys from the indies are green. With stuff like this. So, but whatever, just, it is what
it was. Let me explain to you what I didn't like. So instead of letting Julia Hart, who needs it, and Brody King, that's his name, right?
Mm-hmm.
I always get him confused with Brody Lee or whatever no, they go in there. This guy just had a match against Pentagon, who always comes out in good gear and people get behind him, but he always loses to the top guys. And that's never going to change, it looks like, for the foreseeable future. So nobody thought he was going to lose the match. It doesn't make it that interesting. You just know it's going to be a good match. So he just went in there and had a long match. And did he even talk on the microphone? I think he talked on the microphone, right? Or no?
No.
Okay. So he had a long match, right? This guy comes in here and can't even take him out of the match. He just pulls the ropes down and he goes over very clumsily. Okay.
Yeah.
And of course, instead of getting heat, what happens? Willow comes out and the baby faces stand tall. I'm like, why aren't you getting heat? You need it. How are you supposed to get sympathy, retaliation, sympathy from the fans, emotional investment, all of the above if you never have any heat? Right. You know what I'm saying? And then during the match, I don't know if you noticed this, they had like a weird graphic that came on that looked like a golf course or something. I was like, what's going on here? Did you see that?
No, I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
So one thing I do want to say is, though, what's the point of having rankings if a guy's going to be defending the championship against just a random guy on the show?
None. There was no reason to ever even have him anyways. Right. It's not even interesting. This guy comes out, not Lee Moriarty, the other black guy.
We'll talk about that.
Okay, but let me just say this. When he comes out, it says as a singles, he's 0-0. I guess he's only been in tag team matches. Who gives a He's been single. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have no bearing on anything.
Right.
You know, just like Monet came in and she's already going for a title. Why? Because she's Monet. What did she do to get to that spot? Right.
Right. Okay. So I don't know. The show is so disappointing. So Renee Paquette interviewed Hook, Jericho, and Shibata. Jericho credited Hook with lining up Shibata as their partner. He said it shows that Hook is listening and learning to him. Oh, by the way, did you see the camera work on this? They kept zooming in and out, back and forth, like real choppy and fast. Did you notice that?
Did not notice that. Go ahead.
I noticed it right away, and they did it later on during the Monet thing.
Yeah.
Jericho said Hook and Shibata would sit under his learning tree, and Jericho spoke about what they would do during the match. Jericho said they listened to him, they could breathe his rarefied air, and there'd be nothing but success for them in the future, and they all put their fists together. After Jericho left, Shibata had his phone translator ask Hook, what is his deal?
Right.
And Hook told Shibata to trust him. And Shibata, through the phone translator, told Paquette that he liked her necklace. I actually liked the phone translator gimmick.
I did too. I thought it was funny.
Yeah. So they showed footage of the Young Bucks beating FTR, and then at All In. Then Alex Fowler hyped the Bucks, showing out their exclusive footage from All In after the break. The new champion, Mark Briscoe and Eddie Kingston. Everybody dressed like a slob here. We're interviewed about Paquette, who asked about teaming together Dynasty after Briscoe beat Kingston. So they're teaming together after they just fucking both men indicated they were good. Then Adam Copeland, Willow Nightingale, and Stokely Hathaway showed up. Copeland wanted to make sure Briscoe and Kingston were good heading into their 6-man match at the House of Black at Dynasty. Then Stokely got fired up and told him to put Copeland put his TNT title on the line against Willow next week, and said she would. That was actually very funny when he delivered that line. Okay, then Willow said no to that idea, then suggested she and Copeland team up. And Copeland said he and Willow should face Brody King and Julia Hart next week. Does this make you interested to see Willow and Copeland against Brody King and Julia Hart next week?
Nothing they've done has. And they're uninteresting characters, booked very uninterestingly.
Yeah. So they go backstage, and Nick T's playing with the Young Bucks, and Nick T's playing the footage, but Matt told him to provide some context. Nicholas said they were about to face FTR at Wembley Stadium and said it was the biggest match of their careers, and Matthew said there was an incident right before the match. Matthew said Jack Perry was the scapegoat. He added that if you have a problem with Perry, chances are you are the problem. Nicholas said the other individual tried to make the Wembley show all about himself, and he noted the other individuals friends with FTR, and they questioned whether FTR was behind the whole thing. Matthew said they were thrown off their game, and he said they had to put their EVP caps on. He said the locker room was in disarray, and they were respectable wrestling journalists who needed answers. Matthew said they had no time to hydrate or even pray. He said the history book showed that FTR beat them in London, but he feels like there should be a giant asterisk next to it. Matthew said the footage was short and resembled a high school scrap. He said the ramifications of the incident threatened to take down their biggest show of all time. The footage showed Jack Perry backstage with referees and other personnel. CM Punk approached him when he spoke, but there was no audio. Then Punk eventually shoved Perry. People thought this was a punch. This was a right-handed front shove to the chest.
Right.
Like, here's what it looked like to me. And then he put him in a front face lock. And Samoa Joe and referee Jerry Lynn started pulling Punk and Perry apart, and they showed Chris Hero. That was Chris Hero that had his hands over his face in disgust.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Chris Hero. I didn't know that either until somebody pointed out. He works there. So, and Samoa Joe was near it, so they did the pull apart, and then they go back, and the Bucks said that wasn't the worst part of the incident. Matt said the worst part was creating a wrestling show and naming a wrestling show and filling the building with the most people who have ever witnessed a wrestling show, only to be distracted by something so stupid that you lose on your big night. Matthew said FTR has want a handshake, and Nicholas called FTR and said they wouldn't shake their hands at Dynasty. Okay, now let's be honest. The verbiage of this promo from the Jacksons was fine if they hadn't even put this footage in there.
Right.
Like, that was a decent promo for heels to cut, you know. So like, I mean, but it was all around this, and this was completely unnecessary to show. Like, it didn't add anything, you know. So then they go to the ring, and they Dax and Cash out there dressed like Tarzan. One guy had on like a Disney Mickey Mouse shirt or something. What was he wearing?
No, they're both wearing like gray shirts that looked very similar.
Yeah, so like they weren't just for work. Okay. Once in the ring, Wheeler asked why the Bucks showed the footage aside from giving themselves an out for losing. And Wheeler said he's sick and tired of hearing about it and talking about it. Wheeler said everyone backstage is ready to move on and put it in the past. And then Wheeler said that instead of talking about Revolution going back to Wembley Stadium, that they're doing some of the biggest shows ever, they were showing videos from 8 months ago. Wheeler said it's because Rod and Todd Flanders can't let go of the fact that they lost to FTR. But who are Rod and Todd Flanders? I know he's talking about the Young Bucks, but what's that reference?
Might be from BTE, maybe some alter egos they have. I don't know.
Okay, so Harwood said the Bucks are their bosses and let everyone know that without them, hundreds of people would be out their jobs. He said they let everyone know that AEW probably wouldn't exist if it wasn't for them. And Harwood said he doesn't necessarily disagree with them. He said he might still be shaving Wheeler's back if it wasn't for the Young Bucks.
Can I just say something real quick about? Can I just say something about that John and Don Flanders or whatever you called them?
Rod and Todd Flanders.
Right. I know they don't have production meetings, but whoever put this together, or maybe in the Young or what, it's one of the commentators at least think, okay, I don't know who this is, and maybe the people don't know who it is except the hardcore fans. Let's let them know this is in these alter egos they play on BT or whatever it is, so we can be in on the joke.
Right.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So Harvard said they've eclipsed the Young Bucks. Young Bucks is the best tag team on the planet. Harvard said there was a time when the Bucks cared about AEW. He said 3 other letters have taken over, and he said the only thing they care about is especially the EVPs. Harwood said they will continue to build AEW for the future of all pro wrestlers so they have a choice, and Harwood said they are doing it for every fan who spends their money on a ticket to get lost in the drama and action. Harwood, they said they are doing it for those fans. Harwood said the Young Bucks don't want to be part of that AEW. They should take their ball and go home. An FTR chant broke out. Harwood said it's not about Wembley or All Out. He said it's about AEW and an industry that he loves. He says it's about the AEW tag team titles. Harwood said 2 teams will walk in and 1 team will leave as the best in the business and the first ever 3-time AEW tag team champions. And Harwood said they will put the roof on the house that the Bucks just built to blow it off. Okay. The Powell's POV of this whole segment with the interview and the footage and everything.
Right.
That's what caused all of this? Good Lord. I wouldn't even label that a fight. Anyway, I like the way the Bucks tied it in with their match against FTR, but not enough to feel it was justified to relitigate the backstage drama at all in. That said, now we can see the footage of whatever Punk allegedly did to make Tony Khan claim that he feared for his life. Fear for his life? Punk allegedly. Now we can see the footage of whatever Punk did to make him fear for his life. So whatever. I guess he's asking to see if we get another camera angle. Right. Well, like I said, these 2 promos were fine, but they didn't need this showing this footage was like completely. I don't know what it did. Nobody knows what it did. It was just like, what? What did they think the response was going to be about this? They didn't have to tie. Like the verbiage in the Young Bucks promo would have been similar if they didn't even reference
this is what I'm thinking. Are you done with what you have to say?
Yep.
Or you got anything else? Okay. So this is what I'm thinking, Disco. So before we saw this and we spoke yesterday, you and me were hoping that this would be good. Probably wouldn't, because most when they do try to do something bigger, have a big announcement, it isn't that good, but we were hoping it would be good. My whole thing coming out of this is that what did this accomplish? Okay. And this is what I feel, that Tony, everybody was talking about WrestleMania, how great it was, and nobody was really talking about AEW, and then Punk came out and did that interview and he had to somehow get him back. So Edge goes out there and he does that feel good promo last week. Everything's good backstage. Now we got the Young Bucks doing this, and we were thinking, how are they going to make Punk look bad here? Because it sounds like Punk punked out Perry, which he did, right? This served no purpose. It should have been used when it happened, and it just looked like Tony Khan trying to get back, using Will Ospreay to shoot on.
We'll get to that.
I know, but using Will Ospreay, using the Young Bucks, he doesn't know what to do, and this was not the way to do it. This made really no sense.
Right. So next was let me see here.
And I like how they kept going, the other guy, which we won't mention, bro. Everybody knows the CM Punk. What are you even doing? And Jack Perry's a scapegoat. Well, he's a scapegoat. Why hasn't he come back yet? I just, FTR, at least the great thing they did is they went in and they said, we're tired about hearing about this. We're tired about, you know what I'm saying? Don't use this as an excuse. At least there was but I just think this is Tony's way of trying to get back at WWE, because they've been in the news with one of the greatest WrestleMania evers and breaking all these records, and he's not really drawing, and this is just him, sounds like, being erratic as usual.
Right. So then Paquet stood on the stage.
Do you get that? Do you get that vibe or no?
Of course.
Okay.
Renee stood on the stage and introduced Will Ospreay for an interview. He said there's a rumor going around that he's afraid of the grind. Ospreay said he doesn't know where it's coming from because he's one of the only guys who travels from the UK to the United States on 8-hour flights and delivers some of the best matches the world has ever seen. Ospreay said he normally wouldn't take the bait, but the guy who said it about him was only in the position he has because he was grinding on the boss's daughter. Ospreay said that person is in no position to say what the grind is all about because that person has no idea what he fights for.
I'm raising my hand here. Can I raise? I'm raising my hand. Okay.
Well, okay, go ahead.
I think when Hunter talks about the grind, my friend, He's talking about being on the road 200 days a year, not flying first class while you're sleeping for 8 hours.
Right.
That's not a grind.
Right. Ospreay said he normally wouldn't take the bait, but the guy said, okay, he said that there was a reminder not to throw stones at an assassin with a machine gun. Ospreay recalled Danielson saying he must ground Ospreay. And he said many have tried and failed. And Ospreay said Danielson is a living legend. And Ospreay said he couldn't refer to himself as the best wrestler in the world until he beats Danielson. Ospreay dropped the company's slogan about the AEW being where the best wrestler. Okay. Ospreay said he's the ace of AEW, and he said Danielson will find out Dynasty-wise another level. Okay. Everything that all my trepidations about Will Ospreay coming into AEW have come true. All right? Because all his shtick is he's a guy that gets high ratings from Dave Meltzer for his matches, and that's his selling point to everybody. Right. I put on the greatest matches, the best match. Bro, you gotta you're talking about like your performance grades on your matches. You need to start talking about like you're an actual combatant that's out to beat people up that have issues with them. He never speaks about that. He's just like, he always thought, if I want to be the best wrestler, I have to beat Bryan Danielson. It's like, dude, if you want to be the best wrestler in AEW, you got to beat the champion. You got to beat Joe. That's what do you think? Like, think about the tone of what you're talking about here. To be the best wrestler, I have to be Bryan Danielson, because Bryan Danielson was voted the best wrestler of the Observer for years.
Right.
And now Will Ospreay is the best wrestler for the Observer for years. So now they're fighting over who is the best wrestler in the Observer for years.
Right.
And I'm like, that's fine for your little tiny audience that you have here, but bro, you're not trying to draw these people. You already have them. They're going to.
And so what you're telling me is the great.
Yeah.
So what you're telling me is the greatest wrestler in your company is not the champion. Right. Right.
I do. Like, think about that shit.
And I didn't know this, because I was like, why is he talking about Hunter? And then I read today on Twitter that Hunter had said something about, he wasn't interested. Right. Yeah. So he was clapping back at that. Yeah, you're not doing no grind, bro.
Well, but here was the weird thing about that. It's because we know that AEW signed Okada. They signed Okada. They signed, they signed Mercedes. And, realistically, this is what I was thinking. Because the guy that I would think he was talking about, if he re-signed with AEW, I think Triple H was talking about MJF.
Right.
Because MJF's 25 years old?
Right.
He's on the up and coming. He wants to go back to the company that works less day. That's what I was thinking.
Right.
That he was shouting because Will Ospreay wrestles. He does tours in Japan a lot. I'm not looking at him like the guy he was like.
Yeah, but I think MJF would do that, because Ospreay obviously is married and has a kid. MJF isn't married and has no kids, and he just wants to grow.
Right.
So I don't think it's MJF. It might have been Ospreay.
Right. But the whole sell of this match, they're going to talk to try to make it sound like
they've done one thing again. This is going to be a match that we know is going to be good, but it isn't due to the buildup, and that happens a lot.
Right. So
what's the buildup here? I mean, half the time he spoke about other than his stuff with Bryan Danielson. Why are we having video packages on them? Why are we having a face-to-face between them? Why are we they've done really nothing to build them except, okay, here's another dream match coming. That's okay, because we know the match will be good. But I get into the buildups.
Let me give you a perfect example here. With the exception of Will Ospreay, okay, how many top guys in professional wrestling have ever come out there and in their shtick and in their persona, they're talking about how great their matches are? Has anybody said that?
Especially he's kind of a babyface, even though he's with Don Callis.
Right. And she's out there bragging about how great his matches are. It's like,
well, we've had like CM Punk say, I'm the
best in the world, but he was a champ. He had a 400-day reign. He was fighting. He was always in the belt. He's like, right. I'm the best in the world because I'm the best in the world. You look at the guy's a champ. Yeah. It's like, this guy saying I'm the best in the world because Dave Meltzer ranks my matches high. That's actually literally the guy's stick on the show, which I think is like,
he has had great matches, but yeah, I get what you're saying.
You don't sell that to the audience like, hey, you want to see a great match? Come watch me.
Right.
You sell it by like trying to sell a fight, and you bury the guy. He buries you back, and it's a personal issue. Now we're going to go to the ring. But now he's saying we don't care. We're the greatest wrestlers. We had great matches, and now we're going to wrestle each other. All right, whatever. So this was actually simplistic storytelling. Shane Taylor, Anthony Gogo, and our boy Lee Moriarty come out there, and against Hook, Jericho, and Shibata. And this match was just an angle. That there wasn't a lot of action to this. They did a spot where Jericho was holding Shane Taylor in the corner. Shibata went to go kick the guy who was holding the guy, moved out of the way, and he kicked Jericho off the apron. Okay, so they're selling the hot tag. Shibata was taking the heat. They're selling the hot tag, but Shibata doesn't sell for anybody, by the way. It's a really weird.
And I like when he forms out of him.
Right, and then he doesn't sell the guy's forms that they do to him.
And when he kicks out of him too.
Right. Yeah, I wouldn't want to work this guy. So because you've stepped him back, he seems like the type of guy to try to hurt you. So basically, he goes for the hot tag, but Jericho now is recovering from getting kicked. And he pulls Hook off the apron and getting him face and say, "Well, hey, why did you bring this guy?" He's arguing because you brought this guy in. They're yelling something, and Shibata gets pinned.
Right.
Okay, and they argued over
if you remember, he thanked them when they did the backstage promo. Yeah, thanks for bringing Shibata in, and then now he's arguing with him. Like Jericho has no direction. It looks like he's turning heel again.
No. Somebody did make a good point.
Okay, go ahead.
I saw somebody on Twitter. They say, "Can't you see that Jericho's doing the angle where he's the veteran and none of the young guys are listening to him?"
That could be it.
I mean, if you look at it from that angle, the storytelling isn't that bad here. But I can see
if that's it. That's it, that's not a bad story. I've just felt that I've become disappointed because I just feel that is like Jericho has a directionless rudder. He hasn't really done anything really interesting in a while.
This is starting to get a little bit interesting.
Okay, and let me give you this because. So now listen to Hook's name. The cold-hearted, handsome devil.
Is it really? That's his name?
Yeah.
That's brutal. All right. So Paquette interviews Dustin Rhodes, and Dustin announced that Samoa Joe is medically cleared now to wrestle. Dustin spoke about how he's nothing to lose and everything to gain, and said the time for talking was over. Dustin said grit, work, ethic, and passion, and glory are what he does week in and week out. It's funny that everybody referenced WWE, and it's like Dustin wouldn't say anything about his brother. But, I don't know. You thought if there was a time to mention somebody in WWE and mention WWE, it'd be Dustin mentioning his brother. So Okada, for some ungodly reason, here's Okada, another wasted opportunity. They're giving this guy a match against a nobody, Cristiano Argento. This is a squash. I guess Okada looked better in this than he did the previous times because at least he knows how to do a decent squash. And after the match, he took the mic and spoke in English, just saying he accepted Pac's challenge and received at AEW Dynasty. Then Pac walked out onto the stage while applauding, and Pac headed the ring, but the Young Bucks attacked him from behind. Okada shoved Pac into a double super kick from the Bucks, and Dax and Cash went out there to help Pac. And they were on the verge of giving him the Shatter Machine when Okada hit them both with chairs. The Bucks had super kicks on Harwood and Wheeler, then blasted them with an EVP trigger knee strikes, and Okada got his feet. And Okada slammed the chair. Bro, this was so stupid. He hit him with a chair shot right to the side of the head.
Right.
That's not the place you want to give a chair shot to, because when you rattle side to side, that's more prone to concussions than front to back. And there's less skin than there is on this part. So that's very unsafe. I didn't like that. But they leave the baby faces later. At least he got some heat here. So,
finally.
Yeah.
Finally, AEW has some heat. Yeah.
So, backstage, Jay White, Austin Gunn, and Colton Gunn boasted about defending the six-man tag titles, the Ring of Honor six-man tag titles. And then White said he wanted to face Billy Gunn on Rampage. Wait, so he wants to run it back against Billy Gunn? Did I read that correctly?
I guess.
Bro, if these guys were heels, they would attack Billy Gunn backstage and beat him up for making White he basically squashed him in that match. So I don't know. So Paquette stood at the stage next to the table with bottles of champagne on it. Paquette introduced Thunder Rosa, and then Tony Storm was accompanied by Luther. They did the half black and white and half color screen gimmick. Storm teased doing a toast for Rosa and they threw champagne in her face, and Storm slammed a tray over Rosa said and smeared her face paint with a towel. That was actually a pretty good attack.
It came out of nowhere, too.
Yeah, it came out of nowhere. It looked pretty good, okay? Then Deonna Purrazzo came out, went for Storm, but Luther got between them. Purrazzo checked on Rosa, who shoved Purrazzo away. The Purrazzo headed the back while Shivani said Rosa didn't know it was Purrazzo. So, I guess whatever's going on there.
What do you think of this segment?
I mean, I'm not that interested in this stuff, but I like the fact that Tony Storm looked pretty rough when she was beating up Rosa.
She always looks rough. So, number one, I thought it was rushed. I felt like they didn't have anything to do with Deanna, so they told her to go out there and do whatever it is that she did. I thought Toni Storm and Deanna Purrazzo's program was super underwhelming. I don't know whether keep it going in any form back. And I know Thunder and Tony is going to be a really good match because they're both good wrestlers. They're both physical, but the build-up I haven't liked. As most build-ups I don't like there. Usually if they even build up at all, they like cold matches, you know.
Okay, so Mariah May made her entrance and declined a swig of Storm's champagne. And Storm kissed May on the cheek before she headed the ring, and the Storm was carried to the back by Luther. So we got Mariah May versus Anna Jay, two very attractive girls. I'd like to hang on. Let me look at this here. I want to see what this number was on the show. Yeah, two hot girls in the ring. Okay, Anna Jay. Didn't really, you know what? The Julia Hart, the Julia Hart segment, Shibata, the 6-man. The Dustin Rhodes promo, the Thunderstorm, the Toni Storm angle, and the Anna Jay stuff didn't really lose the audience at all. Won 767, 665, and 759. And you know why? Because all of those segments had storytelling going on and angles in it. Okay, so you're watching, so at least that's my opinion, right? So then they do Anna Jay and Mariah May. I don't know. They beat Mariah May again. That's a shame because she's so hot. But when
did Mariah May win?
Yeah, Mariah May beat Anna Jay. But they beat Jay, but she's really hot. I don't like her losing, right?
Right.
After the match, Jay put May in the Queen Slayer. Okay, so she's choking her out. This was hysterical. Okay, so this little Japanese girl, I had no clue who she is, comes running out, and the announcers are
she's from Stardom.
She says, "This is Mina Shirakawa. She's from Stardom," and then they're saying she has history with Mariah May and stuff like they're trying to explain
what is the history.
Right.
Why is she right?
They have history. They come in the ring. I don't know, but the funny thing was, so Shirakawa got 2 glasses of champagne so a crew member was there that had 2 glasses of champagne. They give her the 2 glasses of champagne, and Shirakawa knelt down by May and poured champagne in May's mouth.
Right.
Then Shirakawa kissed May on the lips, and then the May stood up and picked up Shirakawa and twirled her around. And this is just all out of nowhere. We have no idea who this girl is.
Right.
And I guess maybe Stardom fans know what's going on here.
So Stardom fans.
I liked this song. Okay, I thought it was absurd, but I liked it. I thought it was just entertaining. I was like, this is so absurd, right?
Stardom fans know who she is, but we don't. So we're seeing this little Japanese girl that looks like she has come out there and then revitalize her with the champagne and then kiss her. And they have a history together. Okay, so is this like the Golden Lovers, like Kenny Omega was with Tanahashi or whatever, and they had some, love affair or whatever? Well, explain it to us. They have history. Okay, what is the history?
Okay, and just so we're not being a hater, okay?
We're not being haters. We don't know what's going on.
Let me read you Powell's POV. Okay, This is Jason Powell, who just watched the exact same thing that we did, right?
Right.
What just happened? Wait, no, this is perfect. And this is just somebody echoing what we're saying and not a respected guy in the industry, Jason Powell. What just happened? I'm sure this meant something to the small fraction of the AEW audience who watches Stardom, but the rest of the viewers and the quiet live crowd were left clueless. Yes, I know. Google it, right? And he put sigh.
Right. Sigh, what I say.
If you don't know what's going on here, Google it.
Right. How about, what did he say? I'd be interested to see what he had to say about the Young Bucks thing.
Okay, his POV of the Young Bucks stuff was, that's what caused all this? Good Lord. I wouldn't even label that a fight. Anyway, I like the way the Bucks tied it in with their match against the FTR, but not enough to feel it was justified to relitigate the backstage drama at all in. That said, now we can see the footage of whatever Punk Legend did to make Tony Khan claim the traitor's life. Well, I actually read that earlier. You just didn't notice it because it wasn't much.
Okay.
Okay, so then this is after the Ospreay promo, Powell's POV. Is this episode all about petty grievances? I like the Ospreay promo once he got through responding to something Paul Levesque said in an interview that most Dynamite viewers didn't even see. As someone who enjoyed Adam Copeland's promo last week because of the anti-tribalism message, it took just 1 week for AEW to prove that promo meant nothing, which is true.
Right.
Yeah, think about the promo that Adam Copeland cut last week.
Right.
There's too much tribalism, and here they are. They're literally responding to like stuff WWE saying about them. Right. Is that good for tribalism?
I just think Tony couldn't handle all the good news they were having and all the bad news, and he said we've got to strike back, and it means absolutely nothing, bro. If you're not more concerned about how you're going to get up your gates and your ratings, and you're more worried about what CM Punk is saying and what Paul Levesque is saying about you, and that you have to clap back, like Punk said, this is not run like a business.
Okay, so they hired this girl Jen Pepperman to
right,
because she's from the Mercedes Mone producer.
Right.
So this Mercedes Mone sit down interview with Alex Marvez, and I'm in my mind I'm thinking, okay, well this is going to be a scripted promo written by Jen Pepperman, and she's going to recite it, right? Which is exactly what this thing sounded like, a scripted, repeated promo.
Yeah.
She was awkwardly delivering the lines, like
right.
And let me tell you what she said.
Finish. Yeah. There's a line there that I would like, what? But I hope.
Okay, so they were doing the fast camera shots in and out on this one too, and it was super annoying and super amateurish looking, right? So Marvez recalled Mone saying that she wants to face the winner of the Julia Hart versus Willow Nightingale at TBS title match at AEW Dynasty. Mone said she's a history maker and a game changer, and she will decide to make history again by becoming TBS champion. Mone said money changes everything. Marvez asked Mone to handicap the Hart versus Willow match. She said she can't wait to see them throw down because they're the very best. Mone said Hart has Willow's number, but Willow is a force to be reckoned with. Mone said Willow is dangerous. Marvez told Mone to talk about that. Mone said she lost to Willow and was injured during the match. She said if you know anything about her, she hates to lose. She said she's on a mission and can't wait for Double or Nothing. Marvez asked which wrestler she would prefer to face. The lights went out and there was a bunch of commotion and the lights turned on. Now this is, bro, this with the lesbian kiss spot in the thing before, straight to this, and the editing on this was hysterical. So when the lights turned down, when they came back on, she was on the ground, and the broadcast team said they didn't know who the assailant was. Yeah. And while the broadcast team was talking about this, what just happened, and been trying to put it over, they immediately flashed the graphic to the Samoa Joe Dustin Rhodes match coming up. And the announcers, you hear the announcers kind of like they were like wanting to talk about what happened there, but they had to turn their attention to the graphic that was put up. Bro, it was like such an awful editing.
And not only that, not only that, Marvez, who I like a lot, he's with no emotion. Hey, we need a paramedic. Hey, we need a paramedic. And hey, she's down. Something happened. I was like, this was so brutal on so many things. Okay, so first, are you going to read what she said?
Who?
Mone? Yeah.
I already did read what she said.
Okay, no, because there's a part there where she actually says, and I don't know if you read this, and I was thinking of something else. She goes, oh, and Julia Hart, she's so mysterious. I don't know what to expect from her next. I'm like, she's not mysterious at all. Why would he be saying that? You know what I'm saying? Bro, and not only that, here's the thing. And this is from way back in WWE, if you remember. Remember when I used to tell you that in WWE she was a babyface and she always came off as a heel?
Right.
She's still doing it now. I'm the best. I'm the game changer. I do this. I do that. That's not something a babyface would say.
She had earrings on with dollar signs on.
Yeah, right.
Right?
Yeah, she's acting so much like a heel.
Right.
And she talks like a heel. Right.
So let me give you Jason Powell's POV on this.
Right.
Mone came out forced and disingenuous.
Exactly.
I don't want to see Willow Nightingale turn heel. Obviously, The other suspect is Julia Hart. Truth be told, I'd prefer if they told the story that Mone staged her own attack. I've always preferred Mone as a heel. Not actually a bad angle.
She's a heel.
Yeah, she is. So, oh, by the way, Justin Roberts dresses to the nines out there when he as an announcer. He's got a very nice
comes
quote.
From that WWE system.
Yeah, he's got a nice suit on with a nice, really nice.
He looks
really
nice. Yeah.
I actually was when I was watching the show. I thought it was a Tada there's a designer that makes ties similar to that, and I went online to try to see if I could find that tie. I like that tie.
Why don't you tweet him? Yeah. He was on the show once.
Yeah. So AEW. So the main event is Joe versus Dustin Rhodes, and bro, this is such a shame because Dustin's a good worker. Even at his age, like he throws good punches, he's solid and everything.
And people still like him, and he cut a great promo too.
Right, but he's going to lose. Okay, so there was a spot here. Joe picked up a chain. He brought a chain to the ring, and Joe picked it up, and the referee took the chain away and passed it out to someone ringside. acting completely distracted so Joe could run up and hit the guy and Dustin with the belt. Okay. And he pinned him and got the 3 count. But after the match, Joe put Dustin in a sleeper. Then Swerve showed up and hit the ring and hit Joe with a house call kick to break the hold. And Swerve picked up the chain and wrapped it around his fist. And Swerve punched Joe with the chain wrapped around his fist. Swerve tried to whip Joe with the chain, but Joe avoided it. And Joe was down in ringside and looked fearful when security ran out to save him. Then Prince Nana was shown with the AEW World Championship, which he handed to Swerve, who then taunted Joe with it. Excalibur hyped AEW Collision and battled. We got Battle of the Belts on Saturday night. And the show ended just shy of 2 minutes after the show. They said they were going to have an overrun, and the show ended 2 minutes early.
What was this? What was this? What was this POV on this?
How's POV? A week finished that put Paul Turner in the role normally reserved for Rich Knox. He's talking about the refs. AEW clearly didn't shy away from referencing people who work for the competition in 2 segments tonight, yet they failed to do so when it actually could have been productive. Why not
a bad point.
Why not have Dustin acknowledge his brother winning a world championship and turn this into a quest for the Rhodes family to hold the 2 biggest championships in the business?
Not a bad point.
It's like, my brother's got I've got a chance to beat AEW, and our family is going to be
right.
And they never even brought it up.
Right, and people get behind that.
Yeah.
And was it necessary for him to bleed all of that? Bro, that was preposterous. It's not a chain match. It's not a cage match. It's not even a rivalry. Why was he bleeding like that?
I don't know. Because it's unnecessary. But he didn't have to. You know, his character's not like he's got makeup on.
Yeah, his character doesn't. Plus, his character doesn't need it. But it was really a old school mask.
Yeah, but here's the thing, and this is the issue. Is like there's this constant thing. Like I still get comments on Twitter. You're just a WWE. Why don't you talk? But
it's not true. So what do you? I know you don't.
But I just want to make a point that these fans can't grasp.
Right.
Okay, we're not cheerleading any of these shows. We're watching them and analyzing the segments and seeing if they're using the content to build to things that make me interested. Right.
Let me give you an analogy. And there was a time when WWE, you can go back 3 years ago when we were reviewing them, the show was unwatchable.
Right.
And we said as much. If AEW was doing the right things, good booking, good storylines, we'd be putting them over and bearing over WWE. But just because you're a fanboy for one promotion, you think they do no wrong, and everybody that criticizes them or brings up, and we give solutions, by the way. We don't just say, oh, why aren't they doing this? When they could do this. Just like right now, Jason Powell said, why didn't they do the Cody Rhodes? Hey, we're 2 brothers. We're going to, very good idea.
Very good. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So at the same time, it's very simple. We ain't stating, we're just hating. If AEW had a better product, we'd be putting it over, but they don't. And the numbers say as such. And all the experts, except the people that them, tell you the same thing we say. And we don't even talk to each other.
Right. Here's the funny thing. So people comment you like, Disco, Konnan, Bischoff, Cornette, they're all hacks.
Right.
Because all they do is say, bro, it's just simple. We would be hacks if we were, because one company is selling out all their shows, and there's a reason they're selling all the shows. We're telling you one of the reasons we're selling all the shows because we're going over their content. Bro, remember we talked about, maybe it was 2 years ago or a year and a half, and I said they're going to start trending upward because their production has been really, really good lately. Like with storytelling and video.
Let me give you an example.
But just real quick, bro, what are we supposed to say good about AEW? You can't put 3,000 people in the arena. The matches are very predictable. Nothing really happens on the shows and stuff. The people.
But you're talking to people that have convinced themselves and have been convinced with their circle of friends that were idiots. But I'm going to give you an example. We just had Josh Towers on our show today. Talk about baseball. Tell people who Josh Towers is for people that don't know.
Yeah, he used to pitch for Toronto Blue Jays, the Yankees, a long Major League Baseball career. The guy obviously knows his shit well.
So he came on the show today, and we had a baseball preview. Now, how long have you been watching baseball, Disco?
40 years almost.
All right.
40 years, 40-something years.
Okay, me, 50 years, okay?
Right.
Been watching, gone to games, everything. Just like, baseball players, inside baseball, everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would never attempt to try to make Josh look dumb because every time I talk to him, I actually get smarter.
Right.
When I talk to Madden about hockey, I actually get smarter because he knows more than me, and I have no problem saying so. These that have never been in the business. Just like he was saying, nobody's going to know, these analytical experts that are now in baseball. They're not going to know what it feels like when you're with an 0-2 pitch, right? Or a guy that hasn't pitched in 3 weeks, or you're injured, or a litany of things that there's no way you can ever know if you've never experienced this. So the hacks are you guys, because you're not giving us our respect. It ain't like we never did it. You never did it. Yeah. So
and we have actually a discussion about that. How like
I'm gonna repeat what The Rock said the other day. Off is where you can go. Yeah, you're right.
Right. No, but Joshua, in the conversation we have, he talks about, bro, this permeates through like all entertainment and sports.
Right.
There's a
fanboy clique.
A fanboy class. The fanboy class thinks they know more than the people that have done it.
Right.
And it's like, this happened in baseball.
Is this?
And like, it's happening in baseball and sports. And like, they're like, what, how are you letting these nerds dictate everything?
I want to read something to you that I don't even know what this is. I don't know if he does this every week, but I was just looking on Pro Wrestling Net because I wanted to see if I could see the ratings for every match. Right. You can't put it up here because Joe ain't here. Right. He's on a call, right? There's something here called hit and miss. Hit list. Okay.
Hit list. Yeah.
Listen to this. Overall show. This is Jason Powell's view of the overall show. Mm-hmm. Dynamite finishing with an equal number of segments listed as hits or misses does not tell the real story. This episode was a disaster for the company. They spent more time on CM Punk and Paul Levesque than promoting their own 3-hour block on television on Saturday night. Sure, they announced all 4 random matches for the weekly show that features 4 random matches and was watched by fewer than 300,000 viewers last week, but they couldn't be bothered to push the higher priority Collision or Battle of the Belt special that will follow them until the closing seconds of the show. This was a depressing episode on so many levels. I was excited when it seemed like AEW was making significant changes for the better on the season premiere edition. Last night was a reminder that this product is unlikely to consistently improve until Tony Khan gives up the book or starts listening to the right people. Sure, Khan the matchmaker will continue to put together good to great pay-per-view events, which we all agree on, but he isn't cutting it as a book of a weekly television show, let alone as a book of 3 weekly television shows and whatever Ring of Honor is. The scary part is that I'm fairly convinced that AEW exists primarily because Khan wants to be a booker. I just don't see him giving up creative control of the week-to-week creative, and I don't think this company has any chance of reaching its full potential until he does. I could not agree
How many people have to say that? Right. He's losing. The problem.
You said it. I said it. Bishop said yeah.
Bro, the JD from New York and the Solo Monster guy, they all went in on AEW. So, brother, you're losing your most loyal fans. And they're all for the reasons they're all for the exact same reasons that everybody's talking about.
Right.
So it's like, you gotta correct stuff. But the funny thing is, like, I just think this fan base, and this is the problem with AEW, when they're not increasing their fan base, or while they're actually being more polarized. Bro, there's nothing, if you talk about people that you want to like spend time with or hang out with in your life, right? In real life. Bro, there's no person that will rank lower on the list than the arrogant nerd. Like the nerdy guy that's arrogant around you, just thinks he knows, like, thinks he's smart.
Because he has money.
Bro,
yeah,
that's this fan base. Like it's very difficult to integrate them into, like, it's difficult to get people to like them. They're unlikable, and they're creating this culture.
And you know what? I almost feel like
people that disagree with you. Yeah,
I almost feel like this show had a weird vibe and pace to it because they were so worried about clapping back with Nick and what's his brother's name now? I forgot. Nick and Matt. Nicholas and Matt. Yeah, Nicholas and Matthew, and Bruv getting his on Triple H with he got nothing in on him, to tell you the truth, because the guy's having massive success. Right. It almost felt like we interrupt this program to bring in this, we got to get our shots back at WWE, and it did nothing to help the product, did nothing to help the image, did nothing to help Khan. And then I was reading that the actual thing that they put on the air, the fight between, or whatever you want to call it, between Perry and Punk, now he took it off like social media, like you can't find it anymore, something like that, right?
They're putting copyright strikes on it.
Right.
Like they actually put.
Then why do you put it up? Why do you even show it? Bro, this
Yeah.
is nothing, and we kind of knew it wouldn't. He embarrassed himself again. And the funniest thing is Punk actually came out with a thing saying mission accomplished, that George Bush thing.
Punk got the last word in on this.
They did
Right.
nothing. They did nothing to bury Punk. Absolutely nothing.
Yeah. So, all right. That's been our...
This was a
it
weird
is-
show. Yeah.
All right. So that's been our AEW Dynamite review.
Boom. Yo, what's up? I just want to thank you guys for watching this clip. Don't forget to hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. And join our YouTube membership for hours and hours of exclusive, unedited, uncensored content. And being a member will help you get involved in our upcoming live streams. Thank you for your support. Thank you for riding with us. I know you got a lot of other podcast choices, be it wrestling or other ones. And thank you for picking us. Boom.